One day, protagonist Pepperon has finally reached his ultimate goal of becoming the king of the strongest nation in the VR game, Gloria Septim, with restricted gameplay of using only the 7 weakest races of the game out of 35 races. And as for him, he chose the weakest race, Dwarf, which was pretty tough to level up or defeat his enemies even after multiple attempts. But his hard work eventually worked out, and he found out that even the weakest race could become strong with proper cultivation. Now, his nation, Gloria Septim, controls 25% of the world. His closest subordinate, Elf Lara, asks Master Pepperon what will be their next move, as everyone's waiting for his orders. Pepperon wished the game characters could feel more like real life, and for today, his time in game is enough, so he plans on calling it a day, and calls out the command to log out. But it takes unusually long just to log out, with a black screen in front of him. Then suddenly he wakes up to someone calling him out, Master Pepperon, with a worried voice. Pepperon is stunned when he sees it was Elf Lara calling him out, and her expressions are now a far cry from the usual game expressions. He asks her if it's really Lara. She tells him he's been out cold for 3 days, and all of them were really worried for him. As she asks if he's okay, Pepperon is more focused on the details of her character, which seem too realistic from her ears to chest. It hits Pepperon if he really just has been reincarnated into his game, putting him in a shock, and when Lara asks him what happened, he just reaches out his hand to touch her ear, pardoning himself. He helps himself to make sure if this is all real, which seems to be the case from the real feeling of texture of her ears, and Lara starts to feel a bit dicey from his touch and starts folding into a curl. Pepperon retreats his hand and thinks of something, then suddenly starts pinching himself, which puts Lara in a lot of worry. While Pepperon is just confirming if he could feel pain, since adding pain-related features were restricted by law in every VR game. So, he shouldn't have felt any pain, which means he has really reincarnated into the world of the game. But for some reason, he can't find his throne where he was sitting when he logged out. Moreover, he doesn't seem to be in the royal palace either, but in some small house. Suddenly, it hits him that this was the very first little cabin he built when he started playing the game in the early days. He wonders if reincarnating in this world somehow reverted everything back to starting, and for some reason Lara has also gone back in time with him, while retaining all her future memories. He asks Lara if she got any idea where they are. She doesn't seem to have any clue, and claims when she came to, she just found herself lying here, with no sight of their kingdom Gloria Septim at all. Pepperon asks if it's just him and Lara. She replies that other 6 of their subordinates are also with them, and they are currently trying to gather intel on this land, while she remains back to take care of Lord Pepperon. For now, she told him he needs some more rest, but Pepperon wants to take a quick look outside. Lara decided to accompany him just in case, and when Pepperon stepped outside, he was amazed when he saw the whole plains were exactly the same as the game, and he even knows its name, the Thalisham Plains. These Thalisham Plains were indeed the place he established his first base. It's also where he expanded his base from a hut to a village, then a town, and eventually into his territory, the Gloria Septim. Which means, if there's no city or anything here, the Gloria Septim was really done for. Lara confirmed to Lord Pepperon that their territory indeed vanished from existence, and he also thinks that's a very likely scenario. And if the country's gone, he wonders what about their statuses. What happened to that, because if they are reset as well, they'd be toast in no time. Their gears seemed to be the same as before, but when he tried to check his status, there was no response. In which case he decided to check it directly by taking a leap. His jump was higher than normal, so that means his core stats seemed to be intact. But it's hard to imagine that only the power stayed the same, which means all his other stats must be high as well. He asked Lara if her stats were the same. Lara replied she and others have the same stats. Pepperon was curious about magic, and when he tried manifesting some of it, he could sense magic in his palm for real. And if that's the case, he tried casting Giga Flame magic, but nothing happened. Turns out, his all stats except magic remained the same, and he can only cast the weakest of basic spells now. For now, he recalls the things he knows about the current world of the game. He was transported to this world with his 6 loyal subordinates. Gloria Septim had vanished into thin air, but his stats remain the same, and he can even wield a bit of magic. And most importantly, his subordinate Lara is no longer just an NPC. If she gained a heart, others must have become real as well. In the game, if the loyalty of subordinates falls below a certain level, betrayal is bound to happen. But thankfully, he is certain that Lara has maximum loyalty, so that would never happen, and the same goes for others. Still though, he doesn't want to disappoint them in future, because who knows how they might be feeling about losing the whole kingdom, and what if they harbor any sad feelings? He feels damned. If it was just a game, he wouldn't be losing sleep over it. But just then, he got called out by someone, and she hugged him out of nowhere after seeing Lord Pepperon is awake now. Lara told Phoenicia, the harpy, to be careful and step away from Lord Pepperon this instant. But Phoenicia likes Lord Pepperon a lot, so she can't sit quietly with Lara telling her to distance from the Lord, and is mad about it. But Lara made it clear she won't allow anyone to disrespect Lord Pepperon. Phoenicia argues she wasn't disrespectful at all. She just adores how great he is. Pepperon didn't mind being hugged either. Then another subordinate of theirs arrived, and was pretty happy to see the Lord was awake. This goblin here is Gauss, and he reports to the Lord that others will be arriving soon as well. Soon, the wise demon Ellie and Kobold Pochi arrived and were glad to see Lord Pepperon, and Pepperon too was happy about seeing them. Pepperon asked where's Novo. Then Novo replied, from outside he was right there, since he can't come in outside due to his large size as a giant. Pepperon thought everyone should be outside since it'll be great to be together with Novo while they talk. Now that everyone's outside, Pepperon asked everyone to report what they found on their scouting. Starting with Gauss, who went to Northeast, he replied the scenery there was just as it was before Gloria Septim was found, and even the Bethlehem cave, which was filled with monsters before, and they had already cleaned it out, have now returned to the earlier state as well. Novo the Giant reported that in the northwest, the terrain hasn't changed at all, but all the facilities they built are gone. Even their large farm around Lake Fauna was gone. Harpy Phoenicia went to the west and reported that the floating castle there that Lord Pepperon built for her is gone now. Kobold Pochi reported that there used to be a ranch where he kept a dragon he captured, but now it's vanished without a trace. They went around the world capturing dragons on King Pepperon's orders, but now it's all gone. Wise Demon, Ellie, reported she went to south, and the fire extraction facility she managed around the volcano Lufer is gone now as well. It's heartbreaking, considering how much effort they spent on it. So basically, Lara summarized that every single thing except for them have returned to the time before Gloria Septim was found, and Pepperon wonders if the country is gone. Maybe he should disband the party now, because in the game, he used to play the role of a good king leading his subordinates. But now he wonders if he can do all that in real life. He's afraid it's impossible, because in the end he's just a college student inside, and sooner or later he'll slip up and his comrades will end up despising him. He was about to announce the disbanding of the party, since he knows how to survive if it's him alone. But before he could say it, Lara told everyone they don't need to worry about anything, since their master Pepperon is still with them. He is the one who started with a tiny shack, then expanded his ranks and delved deep into the mysteries of technology, and also helped everyone grow from their former weakness to their current strength, while building towns, cities, and ultimately a whole nation. All that in a single generation, which just goes to show how great of a leader Master Pepperon is. In her eyes, Pepperon is absolutely the greatest hero ever. Thus, she believes if they follow Lord Pepperon just like before, they can build it all again, and definitely revive Gloria Septim and conquer the world once again. But that's all a bit too much for our protagonist, who was just going to announce disbandment of the party. But now he can't do that when everyone is all hyped up about reviving the nation, with the help from their beloved king and Master Pepperon, who will surely build a utopia where no one goes hungry. Pochi felt the same and swore to follow Lord Pepperon anywhere, and Ellie also thinks if they use the research from earlier, they'll be not only able to revive the kingdom, but also research more advanced technology this time. Pepperon is dumbfounded by so many hopes pinned on him, and taking all this responsibility seemed like a bad idea to him. He knows he should refuse, but it's just impossible in a situation when everyone seems so happy about him taking the lead. For an ordinary guy like him, he can't voice his opinions out loud against so many at once. Thus, he ends up agreeing with everyone and tells them to just leave to him, the great hero Pepperon. And with him here, reviving Gloria Septim and conquering the world will be a breeze. And so, Pepperon's epic tale of world conquest in a real, another world began. For starters, he told everyone there are 3 things they need to do first. Ellie followed up. They must first earn money, then gather water and food. And to expand their base, they need to gather building materials. Pepperon confirmed that's right, and Lara suggested they should split the roles. They decided to split into 3 teams. The first one, water and food procurement, will be handled by Phoenicia and Gauss. The second team of Pochi and Nobody will handle materials procurement. And the third team, Pepperon, Ellie, and Lara, will handle the funds procurement. Novo is fine with these teams' assignments, but he asks everyone if it's really okay for everyone to head out, leaving the base unattended. Pepperon states there shouldn't be anything to worry about since even if their hut gets destroyed, they can just rebuild it in no time. And with that said, he told everyone to get moving. On the way, Pepperon claims their best bet to gather funds right now is to head to Cyclops' Nest. Then Lara mentions she still remembers how stylishly Lord Pepperon took it down in the past. Pepperon recalls in the game, powerful monster nests hold rare items which could be sold for a fortune. And he figures if this world has returned to its old self, the Cyclops Nest should also have the treasure there. And it shouldn't be difficult to deal with it considering their current stats. They set out for the Cyclops nest, and when they arrived in the area, Pepperon couldn't tolerate the nasty smell of the decayed place. It didn't bother him in the game, but now since it's reality, he keeps his nose covered. Just then, Ellie points out having found the nest, and after they approached it, Pepperon spotted the Cyclops sitting right there as expected. The Cyclops noticed them and immediately brought its club along to deal with them. Before its scary eyes, Pepperon thinks it does look tougher in real life than in the game. And now that he thinks about it, he seems like the evil guy here who barged into someone else's home to kill and steal them. The Cyclops swung down its club at Pepperon. He dodged it effortlessly and made up his mind to kill the guy, since it's all for the money they need. He unleashes the dagger and lunges at the Cyclops, cutting off one of its arms. Then he signaled Ellie to switch, and she cast a fire magic spell at the injured Cyclops and took it down in one blow. After the Cyclops went down successfully, Lara was kind of upset that she didn't get any action this time, and Pepperon told them they should gather the treasure. Ellie went to the treasure box and mentioned it's locked. It's time for Lara to show her picking skills she picked up once and used it to unlock the chest. In a few minutes, she managed to open the chest successfully, and a big haul appeared from the chest. There was even a magic book in there, containing a 5th-level blizzard spell. Lara figured all of this stuff is sellable, and Pepperon suggests they should head down to the nearest town from here, Wallace, to sell all this stuff. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the next team, responsible for food and water, Phoenicia, the Harpy, and Gauss, the Goblin, and they just encountered a good prey they could eat. Phoenicia wonders if Master Pepperon would like it if she brings it back. Gauss states it seems unlikely, which makes Phoenicia feel a bit down, thinking Master might not appreciate it. Gauss mentions that Lord will surely like anything Phoenicia brings back, in which case, she decides to hunt down the snake monster right away. Gauss figures once she's like that, there's no stopping her, so he should leave her to handle this while he'll fetch some water. Phoenicia seemed to be strong enough to deal with that thing herself. Phoenicia moved fastly around the serpent to confuse it, and once the serpent was taunted, it attacked her out of nowhere and missed her. Phoenicia called it out for the nice try, and the next second showed up right above it. She cut the serpent with the dagger around the neck and managed to beat it within a few seconds, finishing the job to procure food. Meanwhile, Novo and Pochi, who were handling the task to procure materials to expand their base, went deep into the forest to get some lumber. But when Novo asked Pochi to cut down trees with his sword, Pochi boasted that his sword wasn't meant for chopping trees, but to protect something much more important. So, he only unsheathed it when it's to protect Lord Pepperon from any enemies that dare to stand in his way. Novo mocked his sword for being ridiculously oversized for no reason, asking if it can't even chop down trees. Pochi was pissed, and he took out his sword shouting, "It can obviously do it. After all, he is the vanguard of Gloria Septum." But then he shouted at Novo, saying he won't fall for such a cheap trick, making it clear he's not easy to convince like Phoenicia. Novo figures it won't work, so he politely asked Pochi to do it for Lord Pepperon's sake, in which case he agreed to do it and swing around his blade to chop down some trees in no time. Novo had to say this speed of cutting down trees would put even lumberjacks to tears, and once they were done with it, Novo realized they might have overdone it a bit, implying they should cherish nature. Pochi told him he should have mentioned how many trees to cut in the first place, and now they are left with the task to procure some stones. Pochi was annoyed by more work. Then Novo assured him it'll be an easy task and they can secure rocks from the heart of the forest. Once they reach the rocky areas, Pochi asks if he needs to cut them down as well. However, Novo decided to handle this by himself, as he focuses and punches the rock hard, shattering the boulder with his crazy physical strength. Pochi envies the strength of the giants, and Novo told him to carry some rocks as well. But on their way back, they suddenly feel the ground shaking, and realize the rocks where Pochi punched was actually a golem, who got angered by the disturbance. The golem punched at Novo without any warning, landing a heavy hit, and the impact even shattered some part of the ground. However, Novo was unharmed, and even stopped the golem with just one arm, claiming it wasn't much at all. Pochi then dashed from the side and swung his blade with considerably more strength, cutting down the golem from the core in one go. Once they defeated the golem, Pochi stated they were lucky to encounter a golem, since a golem's rock is sturdier and easier to work with compared to a regular stone. Now that their work was done, they were on their way back. Whereas the funding team, with our boy Pepperon, along with Lara and Ellie, have arrived at the town of Wallace to sell the treasures to get what they need. Mainly, they needed to stock up on tools for construction and material processing, so Pepperon decided to buy as much as they could carry back. But they were stopped by the guard, and Pepperon was troubled by an unexpected bother, as the guard asked if they were a bunch of dwarf, elf, and a wise demon. He just nodded, but the three-eyed guard there told them weak races like them look hella suspicious. And now that Pepperon thinks about it, This town should only ban entry for orcs, so why are they stopping them? The guard states a bunch of weak races means they must be runaway slaves, who came here to swipe away their master's goods. Pepperon strongly denied that's not the case. They just come here to sell the treasure they snagged from Cyclops' lair. But the guard refused to believe weaklings like them really beat Cyclops. The guards decided to arrest them for questioning, and while he was calling other guards, Pepperon called it quits. Because even though they could beat these guys here, it'll be troublesome if they make an enemy of the nearby town early. But before he could order a retreat, Lara shouted at those guards, saying they should mind their manners before the great hero who built the world's strongest nation, Gloria Septim. Pepperon came in clutches and pulled her away from here, and the guards couldn't match up to their speed. Lara doesn't get it. Why are they running? Pepperon tells them they need to think of another way. Ellie understands it's a wise decision, because Wallace seems a bit different from the Wallace they used to know. The guards failed to catch them, while the gang made a successful escape. Now, Pepperon wonders why they went through the trouble, because normally, they should be able to enter even if they are dwarves, elves, and wise demons. Ellie also admits her race may be looked down on a bit, but never been outright rejected like this. Pepperon realized that the game becoming a reality might have caused some distortions. In the game, being a weak race didn't mean neglect, and if all 7 races get treated like this, then they won't be able to trade in town. This town was crucial for him to buy blueprints for farms and labs to develop their base. Thus, they need to quickly fix this matter to develop faster. While he's brainstorming something, Lara suggested they should just take over the town. The other two know this is a really bad idea. Then Pepperon suggests Ellie could hide her tail and look like a human, and she understood the rest. That way, she could enter the town as a human and make the trades. Lara asks won't the guards recognize Ellie's face. Ellie mentions she had her face hidden by the book earlier, so it should be fine. And Pepperon thinks it's worth a try. For now, he told her by entering town, she needed to sell all the treasure, and in turn buy blueprints for labs, farms, and a grand house. Then buy books for construction, farming, and other spells. And lastly, get tools for construction and processing materials, along with a backpack large enough to fit all these things. She wondered if they could buy all that. Pepperon left it to her, knowing she could manage the money and how much to buy herself. Ellie understood and hid her tail, after which she left for the town with the treasure. As she approached the city gate, the guards seemed a bit suspicious of her, but they didn't make trouble and allowed her entry. Now, Pepperon and Lara just have to wait here, while Ellie would handle trading. Lara asks, why don't they just conquer this town after all? But Pepperon can't let her do that, since even if it'll be easy for them, Wallace is still part of another kingdom. And if the kingdom notices something's off, it could easily lead to a war, where they are likely to be defeated due to current low-level magic skills. Lara somehow keeps her calm, despite all this rage she's feeling. After some hours, Ellie returned, after having bought everything, and she mentioned the treasure sold for a good price, so she got most of what they needed. Pepperon praised and thanked her, then asked if anything changed in town. She mentioned at first glance, nothing changed, but for some reason none of 7 weak races were seen there. Pepperon thinks if all other towns are the same, it could make things messier for them. Just then, he got an idea, that since it's not a game anymore, he could just remove the racial restrictions he put himself, which might change things eventually. He wants to head back to the base to quickly announce this to everyone. Once they returned, everyone placed all the items and things they procured in one spot. Pepperon was amazed how easily they gathered everything in just a few hours, thanks to having a capable team. Now, Phoenicia states she's starving. Thus, Pepperon decides to call it mealtime and asks the food team what they brought. Phoenicia shows them the big piece of serpent she took down herself. Then she asks Pepperon if he likes it. Pepperon replies she did well, but can they even eat this? Ellie also doubts that, while Gauss suggests they could just cut and roast it. He asks Pochi to cut it, but Pochi again repeats the greatness of his sword, saying it's not some knife or an axe. In that case, Phoenicia decides to chop the meat with her twin blades and swings them around crazily imbued with a little wind magic, while Gauss and Pochi run away to the sides, saving their skins. After Phoenicia chopped the meat into perfect sizes for grilling, Ellie made a campfire with flames, while Pochi and Gauss shouted at Phoenicia for the reckless way of chopping the meat, which could have chopped them as well. Phoenicia just apologized and moved on to grill the meat, and once it was grilled enough, Lara wanted to be the one to taste it first, so she helped herself and took a bite, and she liked the chewiness a bit and told others it's good to eat. However, Pepperon was really suspicious about it. Then Ellie offered some of it to him. He took a bite and found out it's not that bad at all. After they finished eating, Pepperon declared they'll be starting to build the base now, for which Gauss asked for the blueprints, and Pochi also got to work with saws and other stuff. Pepperon recalls he mostly left the construction work to his subordinates in the game. Then Lara brought a chair for him to sit on. He doesn't feel that great about just watching, even in reality. but it feels impressive to see it all building in front of his eyes for real instead of a game. But just a few minutes in, and he's already bored doing nothing but sitting in one spot. He thought of helping them a bit, but the moment he said that, Lara and Ellie stopped him right there, as they can't have Master Pepperon do such menial tasks. Pepperon still wished to help, but Lara wouldn't listen and thought the master was trying to understand their feelings or something. But she claims she got it all covered, as nothing makes them happier than helping out Master Pepperon. So she asked him to relax while they handle all the work. Thus, everyone went back to work, and while they were all doing their assigned tasks, Pepperon can't help but feel too bored, thinking it's more fun hunting monsters than these time-taking tasks. It was around the night time when the base was already ready, and the gang had also set up torches, fields, a well, and lastly a storehouse for food. Pepperon was amazed that all of them finished building these things in such a short time, and Phoenicia even asked what's next thing they need to do. Pepperon suggested they will continue tomorrow now, and also put up the idea to look for recruits. Lara thought finding recruits was a tedious part, since their base is quite low. Plus, Gloria Septum has a rule about only having 7 races as subordinates. Pepperon was left shocked. Only 7 races? When did he make such a rule? His restriction play was being stretched too far now, that's a reality, and he feels the need to abolish this rule for the future. He calls them out to say that, but Gauss expresses his happiness that it makes him see their master made this rule for underprivileged races like theirs. Thus, they must adhere to this rule. At the same time, Pochi and Novo also wish to follow this rule and don't want to gather other races at all. Pepperon didn't think that a mere challenge play would make things so hard for him, and everyone would still favor it. He thinks that this must be changed, because they don't have leisure to worry about such things now that country's gone. Lara called out to him, and Pepperon figured he can't just say his thoughts out loud, so he just went along with the flow with everyone and said, no matter how long it takes, he will keep his kingdom thriving with only them non-favored 7 races. Thus, the difficulty of Pepperon continued even for the future. Next day, he told everyone they now need to level up their base, following these tasks, and Gauss summarized it all in short for them to understand better. While Pepperon and Gauss were explaining things to them, Lara was envious as to why Gauss was so close with Lord. Pepperon then gave Ellie the responsibility for tech research, but she still seemed too sleepy, since she's not a morning person after all. Now, Pepperon mentioned they will decide their roles. Some will search for new followers, while others will stay and defend the base. Lara wanted to accompany the Lord Pepperon, but Phoenicia also wished to stay by him. And Pochi and Novo wished the same, but they didn't speak a word after sensing deadly aura from Lara. In front of Lara's deadly eyes, others simply surrendered and went to handle other tasks, leaving only her as the volunteer with Pepperon. Just then, Phoenicia pointed out there's a swarm of people approaching them, and when he looked over there, Pepperon could tell these were definitely not a friendly bunch. He figures it should be good to deal with them quickly, but when he realized that would have to kill those people, it suddenly made him feel conscious of the fact that, unlike games, killing people in real life was a different story. It'll basically make him a killer. Soon, the bandits thought of Pepperon and his subordinates as nothing but a bunch of trash species, which is not even worth selling off as a slave. So the bandits told Pepperon to pay them 1,000 G a week for their safety. Pepperon is in no mood to play and tells them clearly to leave, and he'll spare them this time. But the bandits laughed it off, saying how could such trash be so arrogant. They gave Pepperon one more chance to either start paying up or die right now. Pepperon also gave them one last chance to run. Otherwise, they'll be the ones regretting this. The bandit made a move to kill Pepperon with a blade, but before he could even get close to him, Gauss sliced the bandit clean from around the neck. Then I thought it wasn't worth letting that man finish his sentence. Seeing this, other bandits took one step back, while Gauss asked Master if he acted too soon. Pepperon stated these bandits weren't backing down, so it's fine. The bandits are a bit scared as Pepperon gave everyone the orders to drive these bandits off, hearing that everyone released their hands on the bandits. Phoenicia sliced them off with her dual blades. Novo smashed them one after another with his strength and magic attacks, while Pochi didn't let anyone escape and gave them an instant death. The remaining bandits thought these enemies were strong, so they should take that unarmed elf as hostage, but they were unaware that they walked straight into their own deaths, as Lara killed them with a magic sword which appeared from the ground. She held the sword, declaring that even weak races like them can use basic magic, so those bandits shouldn't come to hasty conclusions like that. All the bandits jumped at her, thinking they could outdo her with numbers, but they were gravely misunderstood, because she was one of the strongest ones in Pepperon's squad. Thus she killed all the enemies in an instant without them even feeling pain. She didn't expect those bandits would really dare to point a blade at Lord Pepperon, that too in front of her. Pepperon, on the other hand, was just witnessing the gruesome scene from the sides, wondering if he could remain this calm thanks to the calmness skill he got. In this world, calmness gives one edge over their fears and panic in any situation. And since Pepperon's calmness skill is maxed at level 50, he can keep fighting hundreds of enemies without breaking sweat. He was thankful that he added this skill earlier, although he'd love to get some surprise as well to show off some moves. Right behind him, a bandit sneaks in, wondering why these trash races are this strong, and just who these guys are. Pepperon looks back at that guy and questions if the guy is really planning to fall back now that his comrades are dying, one after another. Pepperon points his blade at the guy, asking if he got any last words. The guy with eye patches begged for his life in the last moments, but it was no use as he got killed by one strike from Pepperon. Now, since they already have a lot of work, he asked Phoenicia and Lara to come along to find more allies with him, while the rest would stay here to handle other stuff. On the way, Phoenicia asks him where are they heading. Pepperon replies there should be an elf village at the foot of the northern mountain, and Phoenicia hopes there better not be any scary elf like Lara. Lara inquires, Phoenicia, just what's so scary about her? Phoenicia replies, it's when her eyes go all intense, whenever it's about Lord Pepperon. Pepperon is also aware of that, as they keep walking to their destination, unaware that the place they are heading off to, Ashiris village, is all torn down, with all of its villagers being held hostage. Meanwhile, on the way, Pepperon keeps looking back, hearing Phoenicia's complaints of starving and not having energy to walk anymore. Lara reminded her Phoenicia had a whole roasted bear for lunch, so she should hang on, since they are very close to the village anyway. Lara looked around and finally saw the village, and Phoenicia got all energetic, thinking it's dinner time. But when she went into the village in hopes of food, they found out the village was in rumbles, and the ones behind it seems to be those poachers who seem to have taken hostage of all villagers and taking them away as slaves. Lara can't forgive those bastards for harming innocent elves like that, and Pepperon notices that the bandana on those guys belongs to a shady company called as Black Company, the world's largest crime syndicate, dealing in human trafficking and all other illegal stuff. It's clear those guys are taking those elves to sell them as slaves. Pepperon rose to the top once as a member of the Black Company in the game, but even so, their actions made him feel sick. And those are the guys that once set eyes on you, only bring a lot of trouble. So it's unwise to confront them when they haven't reached the village status for his base yet. He wanted to avoid risks as much as possible, but Lara wasn't the type to be quiet in front of evil and shouted at those guys to surrender themselves in front of Lord Pepperon, who will never overlook violence against 7 weak races. Phoenicia was also pissed, as a ruined village meant a ruined meal, which she can't forgive either. The guys from Evil Company wonder who these newbies are now, being a bunch of elf, dwarf, and a harpy. Pepperon is bummed, as trouble is the last thing he wants. And even those poachers make fun of Pepperon, saying they haven't heard of a hero named like that at all. Now they call for their deaths by insulting Pepperon in front of Lara. And despite her threats, the evil guys don't budge an inch and give warning to Pepperon's gang instead. Well, Pepperon can't back out now, so he sighed as he decided to just wipe them all out. So no one knows who did it, and he'll be safe that way. He ordered Lara and Phoenicia to exterminate every one of these pests and make sure not to let a single one escape no matter what. They listened to Lord Pepperon's command, starting a fight with the biggest criminal group. Meanwhile, at the base, other guys were wondering what new subordinates they would get. Pochi thinks they should gather kobolds to increase their strength first, but Novo mentions that 100s of kobolds will be useless if they have all the brawn and no brains to protect the nation. Pochi was provoked by Novo's words and he challenged him, but Novo remained chill and didn't mind it. While Gauss asked Ellie what race she thinks it'll be, Ellie replied the closest village from here is Arshel's village, so it'll be an elf, which shocks everyone and they go quiet, praying to God they won't get another elf as scary as Lara. Meanwhile, Pepperon and the gang have taken down a bunch of those evil guys, and they think at this point those two are monsters for real. Pepperon figured those two could handle her, so he should rescue the elves meanwhile. But after he looked around a bit, he found 2 more of those poachers keeping all the elves as hostage in one place. They have made sure to collect every last one of the elves, and just then, one of them notices all the noise from ahead and is curious about checking it out. But they didn't have to leave at all, since Pepperon came to them instead. And seeing him, the evil guys thought it's just a dwarf and raised their blades at him. But unexpectedly, they were taken care of in just a few seconds by this same dwarf, and Pepperon went to ask the elves if they're all right. Elves replied they are, and he started untying them, leaving the explanations for later. Right then, one of the remaining kidnappers attacked our boy from the back, and the elves told him to watch out. But Pepperon didn't even consider responding, because he knows those two got his back, as they appeared right behind the man and killed him twice in a single moment, once with their deep killing intent and the twice with their blades. Pepperon praised the two for excellent work, and they reported to the master that the mission was accomplished, and Phoenicia is really hungry now. The elves wondered who these guys were, as they saw Pepperon ordering his subordinates to release all elves. Later, they gave a lot of food to Phoenicia, as part of their generosity for saving their lives. Lara told Phoenicia to at least show some restraint, but the elves didn't mind at all, because if Pepperon and others had not come, who knows what would have happened to them. Pepperon told them not to worry about it, and claims as he will never turn a blind eye to such wickedness. The village chief introduced herself as Lucy and asked the identity of their saviors. But before Pepperon could speak up, Lara spoke for him, saying he's the great savior of the Sevens. Weak races, the rulers of Gloria's Septum, and the supreme king and greatest hero in the world, Lord Pepperon. Pepperon thinks she went a little bit overboard with it. Then Lara added, they have somehow lost their nations for unknown reasons, but they strive to revive it all again and have come here to seek allies for their nation. Lucy understood her reasoning. Then Pepperon said, normally he would have asked for some recruits from here, but since the village is in disarray right now, it seems he can't gather any followers from here. But to his surprise, Lucy told him that all of them will follow him, requesting Lord Pepperon to grant her the honor of serving under him. Pepperon and the gang unexpectedly recruited so many allies at once, and Pepperon asked if they could really have everyone from the village. He was expecting only 2 or 3 possible recruits before, since it was like that in the game as well, but here he got to recruit everyone. And with this many elves from this village, they could level up their base significantly, and even transform it into a settlement. Lucy asked Lord Pepperon if it would not be possible to take them all in. Pepperon replies that's not the case at all, but the thing is, his base is quite distant from here. Lucy replied that won't be an issue, since they were already on the run from that evil company, since the villages of weak 7 races are always under threat of attack. Phoenicia and Lara think those bastards are just the worst, and Lucy adds that when they were assaulted many times, no other race came to their aid ever, so if they stay here, they'll just die one day at the hands of that evil company. Moreover, Lucy believed Lara's words, saying Lord Pepperon is the savior of 7 races, so he must be truly an amazing lord, and she thinks they will be safe serving under him. All the other elves share the same idea, and their excitement-filled eyes make him feel like he's being eyed by many Laras at once. He wondered if all elves are like this. Then Lara told everyone one more thing, that from now on, they should not think of themselves as weak 7 races, but instead, glorious 7 races of the Gloria Septum. Lucy liked the speech from Lara so much, she sat down on her knees in an instant and swore to serve Lord Pepperon from the bottom of their heart, requesting Lord Pepperon to accept her and all the villagers here. As Pepperon looks over the happy faces of all these elves, he's feeling all giddy, as he never had this many recruits right from the beginning. And this makes it all feel easier than even the game. He accepted everyone as his loyal subordinates, declaring they are part of Gloria Septum from now on. And just like that, he succeeded in recruiting 62 elves, and 2 days later, the gang was about to return back to the base with everyone. Those who stayed behind here at the base have built more buildings, and Ellie has a lot of research done as well. And all that's left is to wait for their king to come back. Or so, Gauss thought. But now their whole food rations have run out. He shouted why the hell their 2 weeks of food supplies got emptied in just 2 days. That too, when the king might be back today now. Pochi and Ellie, the ones who ate like pigs, are all cool while Gauss is pissed off and scolds them for eating like there's no tomorrow. Pochi asks Ellie if there are any spells to boost food supplies. She replies none. Then Novo mentions they might be able to make it through somehow if Pepperon brings usual 2 or 3 members, and it's unlikely for them to run out of rations. But even if Pepperon will forgive them, both of them are scared of Lara, who won't go easy on them at all. Pochi and Ellie are just as afraid and say the group should share the accountability. Soon, Pepperon came back and announced his return, and when everyone looked at him, they were shocked, as he brought a whole crowd along with him this time. There were over 50 of recruits, compared to 2 or 3 they were expecting. Then Pepperon asked Gauss what's wrong, and he couldn't speak properly, so just mentioned how there are so many people. Pepperon declares that they have received a total of 62 recruits from the whole village, which Gauss and Novo know is a very incredible thing. But the thing they are worried about is something else entirely. Lara questioned them if anything went wrong while they were away. Gauss tried to say it's nothing major. Right then, Ellie calls out Lord Pepperon and reports that tech research he requested is all done successfully. Pepperon praised Ellie for doing such a great job, and Gauss was pissed off at how she's saving her neck. Pochi then called out Lord and reported the village was also all safe, and he protected it closely every moment. Pepperon praised him as well, and Gauss feels mad at those two for only reporting good news. Now, Gauss thinks he could only rely on Novo apologizing together with him to the Lord, but then Novo smirks and tells Lord Pepperon that he started building extra houses just in case there were more subordinates. Pepperon states that it's really helpful, but Gauss here is betrayed literally by everyone. Phoenicia then comes in, wanting to eat a lot since she's hungry from travel, but Gauss stops her and asks why she takes a shower before eating. But Phoenicia wants to eat first anyway, while Gauss tries to convince her. Suddenly, something glowed brightly, and a chest box appeared in front of Gauss. Pepperon received the notification that the base level has increased by 1 level, and they have upgraded from a settlement to a base. This system is something he knows quite well, and that treasure chest contains blueprints for remodeling the base master's residence. In the game, Pepperon started from a little hut and eventually took it to the whole castle and kingdom of Gloria Septim, and he's all excited now that he thinks about it. Now, Lara declares they will have a celebration for their base level up, and also having new friends join them. But Gauss didn't seem all that happy, and Pepperon noticed his pale expression and understood something was up. Pepperon asks Lara to show the elves their new homes, since they must be exhausted, and they can just celebrate after a little rest. Lara obediently followed words from the Lord, and now that they're gone, Pepperon called out Gauss to ask him what's wrong. Gauss comes out clean, and Pepperon is shocked beyond imagination that they don't have any food left already. Ellie and Pochi just claim it's hard to eat while thinking ahead. Gauss scolds them to at least be a little guilty. Pepperon states it can't be helped now. What's gone is gone, and now they need to gather more food. All 4 of them, even including Novo, begged Lord Pepperon to keep this a secret from Lara, which makes Pepperon think these guys fear Lara more than their master. Pepperon orders them to gather food, and while they're at it, he thinks a bit on how he needs to be really careful about food in the future, since Phoenicia and Ellie tend to eat a lot. Well, he's sure he'll manage somehow. But at that moment, Pepperon completely forgot about something. He forgot what happens when a base evolves into a village, as it's visited by those guys. After a month passed, things seemed to be going great for Pepperon, as along with the level up, he developed his residence into a magnificent estate. He remembers how thrilled he was when he first got his mansion in the game. And now he has it for real, and there's still a lot to do. He lies down to rest a bit, reminiscing how sometimes one should just spend some time alone without thinking about anything. It's tough to relax with someone always by his side. But right then, he's called out by someone. And upon checking out, some elves report to him that a suspicious group is approaching their village. Pepperon thought it could be just some bandits, so he should deal with them and build some walls as soon as possible, just so he could sleep peacefully. But as he went to the entrance, he heard someone calling out for the chief of this village, and when Pepperon steps to the front claiming to be the chief of this village, he is shocked so much that his eyeballs were almost popping out, as he saw the familiar guy, standing before Pochi and Lara, one of the worst possibilities. They call out to the man, asking if he is from the Spoutin family, what he's doing here and what he wants from their Lord Pepperon. Pochi told the guy to be careful if he chooses to act all high and mighty, which annoys the other soldiers to see their leader being talked rudely. But the leader ordered everyone else to be quiet, introducing himself that he's Ru Plazdar, the captain of the Spoutin Knights, and he questions the two in front if they even know who owns this land. He declared this is the territory of Count Malauder Spoutin, so building a village here is utterly outrageous, and the trespassers should just leave immediately. Pepperon totally forgot about these guys, and their appearance means they are here to discuss taxes. The land here in these plains do belong to the Spoutin family of another kingdom, and in the game, they would come to demand taxes. If they refuse to pay, it could lead to a war, so Pepperon considers it'll be better to just give them some tax, which in-game was about 5% of the annual food harvest. But Lara outright shouts at the guy this land belongs to, Gloria Septim, and its 7 week races, and when Pepperon wants them to quiet it down, they just challenge the knight even more, worsening their condition even more. Now, Pepperon is pissed. Why don't these guys learn how to not escalate things all the time? Then he calls out to them and tells them to wait, after which, steps to the front and introduces himself as the village chief of this village. Ru was confused to see a dwarf being chief of this village, and with a side glance, he could also tell there are more races here, from kobold, giant, goblin, harpy, and even wise demon. He thinks this village just has over 70 villagers from weak races, which pissed off Pochi, but before he could do anything, Pepperon silenced him and asked Ru what he wanted from them. Ru is fixated on making Pepperon and his people leave these plains, but Pepperon made it clear that would be difficult, considering they should negotiate. Ru is interested to hear him out. Then, Pepperon states that this land was never developed by anyone before. Thus, it would benefit him to have a village loyal to the Spoutin family here. Ru asks if he's willing to pledge loyalty to the Spoutin family, to which he agrees, and Ru wants to discuss it further. He asks one of his men to bring that thing, and he brings out a paper, telling Pepperon they should get this negotiation started. But Pepperon tells him to wait, and says they will continue this conversation at his mansion, since it's an important discussion and he wants to discuss it thoroughly. Ru orders everyone to stay right here, while Pepperon also orders everyone the same, telling them not to dare come anywhere near the mansion while he negotiates. He's counting on Lara to handle that part, and Lara happily complies with his order. While Pepperon is relieved it's going according to the plan, because if others were to see the negotiation, it could lower their loyalty, which is something he can't let happen no matter what. Now inside his mansion, Ru states they might have come here to negotiate, But the only thing to talk about actually is just tax. And Pepperon knows that very well. Rue straight up demands for 40% of their harvest given as tax to the Spoutin family if they don't want to be thrown out from here. That is just too much for Pepperon, because that was no way a proper or fair tax compared to the game's 5% tax. He requests if there's any way to reduce taxes, but Rue declines, saying that a village of weak races won't be of any help to them in battle, so they will have to help out with farming instead. Pepperon understood now that it's all because the races are looked down upon strongly compared to game, in which case, he tells Rue that they can be useful in battle, and they even repelled bandits recently. But Rue didn't believe him because all the inferior races could do anything except fight. Pepperon is pissed off. This guy's being too demanding just because he's being submissive. He considers even wiping out the knights just to show them the difference in their strength. But suddenly, he calms himself down, realizing he's starting to think like Lara. Lara, on the other hand, sneezes, feeling a bit chill from somewhere. Back to Pepperon, he gets an idea and states, the Spoutin family must have some problems going on, so how about he'll solve them in exchange for reducing the tax rate? Spoutin asks if that's his idea of a solution, and Pepperon is already aware of Spoutin's current biggest problem is BBC Company, that evil company from before, and their hideout is actually located around these lands. Thus, Pepperon suggests if they can locate and wipe them out, Rue should lower the tax rate. But Rue thinks that's impossible. But then Pepperon demands the tax to be 10% if he manages to wipe out the hideout of the BBC Company. And since they will be taking a big risk, it's a fair demand. He asks Rue what he thinks. Rue smirks and makes a deal. However, he gives Pepperon a clear statement that if he fails, the tax will be 50%. Pepperon is startled by that number. Then Rue added that it's obvious that if they are part of this, even Spoutin family will face the wrath of BBC Company. So relying on an inferior face like them means they will be taking more risk than them. He asks if he is confident in succeeding. Pepperon, worried, asks Rue if there's anything else he can't sort out for them. But Rue don't think they have any other issue they can't solve, which just makes Pepperon feel cornered. And he wonders what to do, because now that he has a deadline, he will have to act immediately. Rue asks him what's his final say. Pepperon wants some time to think about it, but Rue demands him to decide right now, in which case, Pepperon agrees to those conditions and forms a contract. Rue left with his army, looking forward to how things play out, while Pepperon is now all tired because he doesn't know how he should explain this to everyone. Should he just say he's doing it for taxes, but he doesn't want to look like he's being used? Maybe he could use the attacks on the elves by BBC as an excuse to seek revenge, but it feels a bit forced. He wonders what if he rescued the 7 weak unfortunate races captured by them, but that doesn't seem to be much convincing either. He sighs. At the same time, Lara sighs as well, and Ellie points out she doesn't seem to be acting like herself. Lara says it's nothing, and Ellie decides to leave in that case. But Lara stops her because she still wants to share, and claims Ellie is cute for asking about her comrades' concerns. Lara explains she wants to be more helpful to Lord Pepperon. Ellie states she already seems to be doing enough, but Lara doesn't think so, and feels like it's still not enough. She was just trying to stay close to Master Pepperon after the talks with the Spoutin family, but she was told by him to leave him alone for a while. Lara thinks Pepperon doesn't feel like she's reliable enough to share his worries with her, which makes her feel frustrated. But Ellie tells her it's not like Lord Pepperon needs to rely on her or anything, and since someone's always nearby Lord Pepperon, he must need to be alone sometimes as well to think. So, Ellie tells Lara not to pressure herself too much, and when Pepperon needs her, he'll surely ask for her help. Lara is all happy after Ellie said that, and she thought to do her best with what she could do. After saying that, she left, while Ellie wished Lara could keep things not too strict by her changed mind. Whereas, Lara feels like she needs to devote herself more to Lord Pepperon and handle other things properly. Just then, Ellie is called out by Lucy, who mentions they got into some serious trouble because her sister Rich was captured by a BBC company. She asks her what they should do now, as they need to tell Lord Pepperon about it, but since he's busy, Lara decides she'll tell him and asks Lucy for more details. Lucy tells her that Rich just went out to play in the forest this morning, and the kids ended up staying a bit far from the village. When they were getting worried and were just about to come back, Rich, who thought the forest was all safe, wanted to walk further to search for a colorful rabbit she heard about once. She thought if they brought that rabbit back, it would make Lord Pepperon happy. She eventually found the colorful rabbit, but while they were planning how to catch it, Rich decided to approach the rabbit and slowly have it come near her with safe words. The rabbit trusted her, and they became right away, and other kids wanted to hold it as well. The boy found another rabbit, but then someone came by and smashed that rabbit under his foot, asking kids what the hell an elf is doing out here in the forest. The kids recognized they were BBC guys. They needed to run away, but the BBC guys won't let them go and already planned on capturing the kids to make them work as slaves. Rich claims she will handle things here, while the other two run away and inform the king about it. The kids didn't want to leave her behind, but Rich shouted at them, and they understood and left to quickly call for help. The evil guys didn't want to let anyone escape, but Rich stood in their way with a dagger, and the guy is more fixated on capturing her now. Just like that, Rich was taken away, and when everyone heard about it, they wanted to take some action right away. Novo also admits the situation is dire, and Pochi knows those guys will either enslave her or work her to death. Lucy requested Lara to help her. Sister Riche and Lara wanted to head out right away to find Rich, but Pochi told her that they need to consult Lord Pepperon first. She knows he will definitely say yes, but Gauss mentioned what Pepperon said earlier about Black Company being a tricky bunch, so he doesn't think they can just storm into their hideout just like that. Lucy was concerned about Rich even more. Gauss stated Lord Pepperon will definitely help her. Lara confirms that, although she knows it's important to report it to him first. They went to the mansion right away while Lucy was worried, hoping her sister would be safe. Meanwhile, Pepperon was practicing to tell everyone they should attack the BBC hideout and crush them to pieces. But that sounded a bit too harsh, and he wanted to find some reasonable excuse that everyone would buy. He wants to have a reason that will leave no room for argument, something like, they shall annihilate BBC hideout. He practiced even how others would react, asking why they were attacking the hideout. Pepperon would say they don't need a reason when he said it. This sounds like a good idea at first, but the very next moment, he knows how stupid that sounds. Then he heard some noise from outside and headed to the window to check out what's happening. The moment he sees everyone gathered outside the mansion, and Lara also mentions they have something to discuss, Pepperon is shocked and can't think straight, as them speaking like that means they must have found out about taxes, and the villagers might be furious right now. He sweats excessively, and at this point, doesn't care anymore and just decides to use his authority to order them to destroy the evil company and snag a 10% tax rate. He steps out, reminding himself that he's the king of Gloria Septim, so his words are absolute in this kingdom, and he can do this. He determined himself to say it, and while Lara was about to tell him, he interrupts her and outright declares a war on those Black Company guys right away. And the reason must be clear to everyone, as they need to do it for their future. He asks everyone to prepare for the battle, hearing that everyone goes silent, and Pepperon thinks he nailed it. Lucy has tears in her eyes, as she thought Lord Pepperon sees over everything and already knew about the problem and even decided to attack the evil guy's base. Pepperon is clueless by her reaction, as she came to thank him a lot for his concern. She believes even harder, and her loyalty for him increases, as she hails the great hero Pepperon. Lara claims now they should prepare for the battle and rescue their kin from BBC. Only then Pepperon learned that actually Riche, Lucy's sister, was kidnapped, and he remembers Riche since she was a lively one. So he could now use the pretext of revenge and take care of those BBC guys, as the situation is very convenient for him. It saves him a lot of trouble explaining, plus his popularity also skyrockets. Now, he really wanted to literally not just save Riche, but obliterate the whole company himself. Thus, he calls his subordinates inside to devise a plan. Meanwhile, in the BBC company's hideout cave, inside one of the cells, Riche slowly regained consciousness, and she was hurting a bit. She recalled what happened, and she was taken away by the BBC and now is inside a cell. Then she got called out by another cellmate, and she wished they could bring a better race than elf like always. Riche asks the girl where exactly they are. The girl replies they are just slaves here. And just like Riche, she was also abducted by those guys, and everyone else who came here with her has already died. In this place, one either works to death, or they die during working due to mines and never get to see the outside world again. This is hell, and now Riche is also a part of it. Riche mentions she can't stay here, but the other girl makes it clear nobody wants to. But what can she do with those shackles? Riche asks the girl who she is. The girl replies she should introduce herself first, so Riche introduced herself to the girl, and the other girl also introduced herself back as Pana, a dwarf, and just like her, she's also a slave, just here from a long time. For now, she told Riche they don't even have the luxury to wallow in despair, since they are made to work all the time inside this mine. They are tasked to mine explosive rocks, which explode when given a strong enough jolt. It's often used in weaponry, and only a select few people are allowed to mine it. But the evil company couldn't care less, and as long as one's a slave, they can easily be replaced after dying. So either Riche works and dies in an explosion, or works herself to death. She wishes to get along with her for the short time they will be together before they kick the bucket as well. Meanwhile, Lord Pepperon has summarized the plan. First, Phoenicia and Pochi will act as guides and distract the security, while Pepperon and others will infiltrate the facility. And once the guards inside are things out, Gauss, Lara, and Ellie will sneak in through the east entrance to rescue Riche, and lastly, they will obliterate the hideout. Novo and other elves would defend their village here, while everyone would be on mission. Gauss wanted to ask one thing. If the mission is all about rescuing Reach, why don't they just take her and escape instead of wiping out their entire hideout? Pepperon can't do that. Then Lara exclaims at Gauss. They can't let those evil guys get off easily for messing with them, and they will wipe them out. They must. Pepperon feels sorry for Gauss, because if this situation wasn't about the tax, he would be on the same page as him. Now, everyone set out for the hideout right away. Meanwhile, in the prison, Rich was pushed outside her cell and told to get to work right away. Rich knows everyone here has been brought against their will. Then she looks around to find Pana, when she hears a guard from an evil company giving slaves orders. He also yelled at Rich to get to work, but she doesn't have an idea of what she's supposed to do. The leader of this place, Pelsto, told her to just watch others and learn. But if she messed up, it'll be game over for her. Rich is pissed off, but she can't retaliate and has to go along with the flow. She heard a little bit that she's supposed to mind the spots that are just lightly tinged red and must avoid dark red spots. She slowly moved her hands, being careful about it. Just then, someone behind her exploded from the red stone, and she saw their corpse right in front of her eyes. The evil guys simply called those dead useless and told his men to feed those corpses to the monster outside, while also warning others if they are going to kick the bucket, they better at least do it from overwork. Rich hated these guys and said straight in front of Pelston that they are scum, to treat people like they're nothing but trash. Pelsto replied straight, they are nothing but tools, and everyone here is worthless, not even for sale anyway. So, to him, they are disposable items that become garbage after drying and are just thrown away if they are not of any use. Rich retaliated, declaring she's not just some tool and they weren't born to be scum like them. Pelsto got furious and figured she needed a lesson in managers. But before he lay a hand on her, Pana called out to him and asked to be in charge of teaching that girl a lesson. Pelsto knows she's just trying to worm her way into Pelsto's good graces, and she admits that's the case, since Pelsto taught her that he prefers tools that have a purpose. She wants him to understand that she got better use for herself, probably other than mining. Hearing Pelsto agree and give the task of teaching that girl a lesson to Pana to save his time. Now, Pana took Riche away and told her to keep her mouth shut for now. Once they reached inside the torture room, Rich was frozen and she asked Pana just what exactly is she planning. Pana told him clearly that either Riche starts seeing herself as a tool, but Rich interrupts and exclaims she's not a tool. Pana gave her two choices, one to endure at her hands, or second, that Pana will go along if Rich just lies out there and claims to be a tool for pretense. Pana wanted to save Rich some trauma, one which she has gone through once, but Rich doesn't want to admit being a tool of scum like them. Pana then gave her a reality check, asking her what she can even do here. Can she even defeat them and make an escape? Rich suggests they could join forces and throw them off, but Pana makes it clear none of them could do that. It's either they play their game and survive one more day, or they kick the bucket right here and now. Rich understood and agreed to admit she's nothing but a tool. Pana told her that's a smart choice if she wants to survive. Later, she reported to Pelsto that training is over, and he noticed there don't seem to be any injuries. To Rich, Pana explained the moment Rich saw that room, she froze up and started begging for her life and claimed she'll do everything they want. Rich doesn't exactly like it, but Pelsto believes that might be the case, and to confirm, he asks Rich who she is now. Rich, nervous and tense, claimed she's just a tool. Pelsto likes this spirit and tells her to quickly learn her job now so she can be useful as a tool. He asked Pana to come with him for a minute, leaving Rich behind to work. After the exhausting day, all the slaves returned to their cells, and Pana asked Rich if she managed to learn her work. Rich is lacking words for what she went through. Then Pana gave her bread, which will be their meals every day now. Even getting food is sometimes a miracle in this place, but Rich denied eating anything given by those bastards. Pana states no matter who gives it to her, it's just bread that will help her survive. Later, Rich asks Pana, why did she offer to train her back then? Was she trying to help her? Pana laughed it off and said she had no reason to help her and was just currying favor with Pelsto. Since the hideout is run by that guy, and if one gets on his good side, they can escape being a slave for mining blasting rocks to a safer work like cleaning, serving food, or something else. And if it all goes well, they might even become a full member of Evil Company as well. Rich asks her if she really wants to join those scum guys, then Pana asks her if she's bothered by that. She exclaims that's right, she will never want to join a bunch like them in her right mind. Pana said if she keeps working like this, she will only die by either of two options, then asked Rich if she thinks that's the right choice. Rich stated what Pana was saying lacked any pride at all, which reminded Pana about the words of her own, that she will never become a tool in the past, but after her friends were killed right before her eyes by hands of that Pelsto, she has given up all hope. She laughed it off and said pride won't help them survive. But Reach is sure that Lord Pepperon will definitely come to save them. And Pana thinks that's just some nonsense because no one dares mess with the Black Company and goes to sleep. Reach won't let anyone insult Lord Pepperon, But Pana made it clear that the only thing they can rely on is themselves, and has to be clever to survive. Meanwhile, Pepperon decided to attack the base of Black Company with everyone prepared by his side.